Realtree's Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Cuddyback, Drake Non-Typical, Easton Arrows, Frigid Forage, Fuse, Grizzly Coolers, Hoyt, Ozonics, Redneck Blinds, Wasp Archery, and Realtree.
Welcome to Midwest Whitetail. It's been about 10 days since we've been able to find ourselves in a deer stand, so I thought I would take a few minutes just to talk about one of my favorite products that we've been blessed to use here at Midwest Whitetail, and that's the Ozonics. I had a guy ask me actually yesterday that if I could only take one thing in the deer woods with me outside of my weapon of choice, what would it be? And I told him the Ozonics, and he asked me why, and I simply told him because it works. I know over the last 4 years we've seen our success rate not only seeing mature deer, but harvesting mature deer has really went up. There's a couple things you need to know about the Ozonics that are not to-dos, I guess. And the first one is to make sure that you don't just take and screw the Ozonics in over your head and place it where it just blows out in front of you. The correct way to hang the Ozonics, if you're hunting from a tree stand or sitting in a ground blind, would be to make sure you point the Ozonics in the direction that the wind is blowing. So if you're hunting a northwest wind, then you want to actually point the Ozonics in the northwest position so that it gets in the wind stream and basically covers your human odor as your human odor travels down that wind stream. The second thing that you definitely do not want to do is you don't want to use it in the rain. You don't want to get it wet. It is not designed to get wet. It's not waterproof. So make sure that if you decide to hunt on a rainy day, that you find yourself in a blind where you can stay dry and utilize the Ozonics in the proper way. Great product. It's very easy to use. I like the design of all the Ozonics, which my favorite is the new Orion, which I let a friend borrow actually this afternoon. So I've got my HR 300 right now, but it's a simple design. You got your power button, of course, here. After you press the power button on, then you have your mode. You have your standard setting. You have your boost setting, which what I like to use, especially when I have a little bit higher winds, I like to utilize that boost mode. And then if you have the dry wash bag, there is a mode setting so that when you want to put your clothes in your dry wash bag, you can set it on the dry wash setting. It'll come on and run the necessary time it needs to in order to eliminate your scent on all your hunting clothes. So just a great tool altogether. Like I said, over the last 4 years, we've seen a tremendous difference in the sightings of mature deer and, of course, the harvest that we've been able to have over the last 4 years. But as you know, if you can beat the deer's nose, then more than likely you're going to be successful. I mean, you can beat his eyes and you can beat his ears, but if you can definitely beat his nose, then the success rate is definitely going to go up. And I know that we're very thankful for the partnership that we have with Ozonics, and very thankful for the opportunities over the last 4 years that we've had in the deer woods because of the Ozonics. And it's a very small price to pay when the rewards are 6-7.5-year-old bucks hitting the ground, and you're getting to harvest deer that in most cases you probably wouldn't have the opportunity to harvest. And I'll give you one example before we wrap this interview up. Just on October the 25th, we were in a redneck blind, and we were hunting a deer that we call Samson. He is a 6.5-year-old buck. And like, you know, all tree stands or ground blinds that you set up, you have a plan going into it where you expect where the deer are going to come out, where they're going to feed. So you set that stand up with the wind, you know, supposedly hitting you in the face, but things don't always go as planned. And that particular afternoon, they didn't go as planned. And Samson come in behind us straight downwind at 40 yards and came out and never even knew we were in the blind. And we had pretty good winds that evening, and there's no way possible without the Ozonics we would have been able to see that deer, and that's a 180-inch plus deer. And we also had another encounter with him on November the 2nd, just a few days later. And again, he ended up coming out exactly where we needed him to come out. But by the time we got an opportunity to take a shot, he was downwind, but never knew we were even in the lock-on. So again, just another testimony of how good these Ozonics are. And I would encourage you, if you don't have one, that you take the opportunity to maybe even sacrifice some other, utensils, so to speak, in your hunting arsenal, and get yourself one of these Ozonics. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. And most importantly, I can guarantee you those deer sightings will go up if you use it the way that it was intended to be used. So again, we appreciate you tuning in to Midwest Whitetail, and we look forward to seeing you right back here on the next episode.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Midwest Whitetail Southeast Show. David and I are starting to change our strategy a little bit and focus more on that late season food. This time of year, we're putting the decoys away, putting the rattling antlers away, not calling quite as much as we have in the past few weeks, because right now the bucks are still cruising a little bit, but they're a little more focused on food and building some of those reserves back up that they've lost during these weeks that they've been spent doing nothing but walking pretty much 24 hours a day. So it's a nice cold 44 degrees here in Georgia with a steady rain. It's supposed to rain through tomorrow and be cold, and with that comes food. In order to stay warm, they've got to eat. So for all of you out there hunting, I hope you're focusing on some good food sources. With us, we have a limited amount of places where we can actually get in with the camera equipment and it stay dry. So until we can get back out there, we'll just keep thinking about it and studying and thinking about, where we'll go next. This time of year, as you scroll through your Facebook feed, you remember past years, and it's hard to believe that it's been 7 years since I killed patients, and still one of the best hunts I've had in my life. Then I was focusing more on all of the hunts I had had and all the encounters I had had with him, and learning from the experiences of those encounters changed how I hunted that particular buck, and being able to seal the deal was definitely one of the best things that's happened. And even though it's been 7 years, it still feels like it was just yesterday when you watch the hunt again. Being a bow hunter, we're not going to kill something every year, but we appreciate all of you that continue to watch and hang in there with us. So until we can get back in the woods and hopefully show you more deer, y'all continue to check back each Friday and see what the Southeast has got going. So we will see you again next Friday on the Midwest Whitetail Southeast Show. I hope that y'all are all enjoying a lot of great time with your family, and look forward to a very Merry Christmas.